Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 5 p.m. and I'll call to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting will be recorded and will be available on the town's YouTube page. We will be going into executive session today and coming back into open session. We will be going into executive session for the following reasons. Number one, Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A6. To consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate, if the chair so declares, and I do, that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. Number two, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation of open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and I do, Macomber versus Town of Freetown, and Lawless versus Freetown. And finally, number three, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Public Employees Union, Local 272 Lyona, all bargaining units, Freetown Full-Time Firefighter Association, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and I do. So with that, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, we're now in executive session. All right, we are now back in open session from executive session. So we will move on now to agenda item 4. This is discussion of vote whether approve but not release the executive session minutes from 3/25/2024. Any discussion there?
No.
I'll entertain a motion to approve but not release the executive session minutes from 3/25/2024.
Motion made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we have the open session minutes from the same day. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the open session minutes from 3/25/2024.
Motion made. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we have Vicky here. So this is discussion of vote on the seasonal hours for the transfer station. You have a microphone up there if you want to. Thank you.
I think that when we had discussed the hours changing, we had originally extended them on Saturdays because the Sundays were not open yet. And somehow that turned into Saturdays being extended and Sunday being open. So I told her she should put in a request to change them in front of this board because I don't think we need to be open till 6 on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. So the proposed is Monday close, Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yep. And then
Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
8 to 1. Yep. And it's been working great so far.
That seems reasonable to me.
Yep. Nobody even realizes the Saturdays. Nobody's come in to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I can see that.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Is that based on what you see, the ebbs and flows?
Yes,
of day to
because
day
when
and
we were
everything else?
utilizing the Saturdays, I could tell you the 2 people that always came in like clockwork, and it wasn't for it was swap shed shoppers, and I mean, they could just come earlier and view the swap shed, you know.
Sure.
I mean, if we don't need to have that time, I mean, puts more money back into my budget and gives them an extra hour on the Sunday, which has been pretty busy these past 2 Sundays. I mean, weather permitting, but it was.
That's adding an hour to Sundays were 8 to 12, but people who go to church on Sundays have a hard time getting there for 12.
Yeah.
So that extra hour gives them that opportunity.
Yes.
I think that's more than fair.
Okay.
And so should I have it says April 8th through October 27th. Is that?
And that's a 30 weeks of Sundays. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I'm thinking, isn't it April 16th now? I mean, I don't know if
yeah, we've already
we started this. Okay.
Yes, it already has.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Sorry,
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah. And we'll be fine only going until 4 o'clock because of daylight savings time, because we've had that issue before where if we've done late hours and then daylight savings time, we don't want them there at after hours. So we'll be fine at that. So
yeah, that's
all right. So should I just vote on these as recommended?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's really not, it's only that's really that small change.
yeah.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to have the seasonal hours of transportation be Monday closed, Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. All right. All right, so now we are going to look at the warrant for the special town meeting, annual town and special town meeting. All right, let's just go through these quickly.
And it's rough, so I apologize. It's lengthy.
Start off with the special.
Sure.
All right, so first article, funding for the fire station renovation/addition. This is 1.5 million for engineering services, architectural project management, bidding, and construction services for an addition, renovation, and equipment for Fire Station 3, located on Bullock Road.
Yep, this is to where, you know, we've known we're over budget on the project. We know we're at least $1 million over budget. We are waiting for some numbers. And so we have other projects that need to be done outside of the addition, as a new generator, which we're thinking is $200,000. I have pulled all the furniture and furnishings out of the fire station addition bid because it drives the price way up when you're bidding it on a municipal bid, and I think we can buy them internally cheaper.
Okay.
So even though the bid is going to be $1 million, or we're projecting it to be $1 million over, I've added some money in here to do some of these potential other projects. If the bids come in higher than expected, at least we still have the money in here, and we can discuss how we're going to pay for the other projects at different funding sources if the bid comes in. So I have put it at 1.5 million. Free cash, just so for your reference, as $2,068,000 plus or minus some change. So this would come out of a free cash.
Gotcha. All right, any questions or concerns with this?
No.
Okay, so we're good there.
The OPEB is, you know, something we fund. We funded it different ways. We funded it as part of our as far as our omnibus budget. Accounting would prefer we do it as an article. You know, this is us trying to get caught up on
On funded liability we have there.
Yeah. So I'm funding it towards, we get this actuarial report done every 2 years, and it says our current service needs, that's the cost, $386,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of makes sense to try to fund to that if possible.
Okay.
So that's just an article to get that done. And again, it will come out of free cash. Now, I may move the warrant articles around as needed based on different warrant, placements. So you're just tonight approving that these articles are okay to go on the warrant and go to town council.
Gotcha.
I'm okay with it. Is this one of the ones that the funding could change? It's not going to change, right? The funding.
It could come out of tax levy as opposed to free cash. Just depends on what I move around.
Mm-hmm.
And the benefit to paying out of the special town meeting in free cash is that it's something that the minute it gets voted, the next day they can spend the money. Whereas the annual town meeting, the stuff gets funded as of July 1. So that's really what dictates me in terms of where I move them usually.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's very important to keep the fire station there.
It is, right? So there are some things that I think might take precedent over OPEB.
Mm-hmm.
So OPEB probably would get moved to the annual town meeting.
Okay.
In terms of timing, right? We fund OPEB out of our annual funds. If you want to look at the next article.
Yep. Sorry.
The next article is something that, as you know, I've talked to the board about the elementary school and how there are maintenance issues that need to be taken care of at the school. One of them is the fire panel and the fire strobes. They're just old and there's issues with them. So this would fund to the replacement of that. One of the entrance pads of the elementary school is all broken up and uneven and unlevel. not the front entrance, because that's what I originally thought it was going to be, but it's in front of the kindergarten. I guess it's all a mess. And when they gave me the price for the front entrance, which was $357,000, and I told them we couldn't fund that, they said they'd rather have the entrance to the kindergarten done. So I don't have a quote. I'm guessing it's $50,000.
Okay.
And Chuck is willing to help with that. So I think we can get the cost down by him doing some of the work. The fiber program is half the cost of cabling the school with fiber. They need it, I guess, everything is outdated there. So these are the projects that I put forth to the town in terms of to fund to get some money to the elementary school to start doing some of our maintenance projects. But the fire is definitely a safety issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
A total of 230,000 for those.
230,000, yeah.
Are these strobes one that talk to you as well? Chief, maybe
I don't know if
they
chief,
answer
I don't know
that?
if the chief. I worked with Neil on this, so I
Neil?
don't even know if Chief Ashley, do you know about the elementary school and what they're proposing to repair the fire system? I know.
I'm privy to some of the problems they're having over there with some of the outdated equipment, and I know some of the horns don't sound every time. Some of them start and then stop. So, but I want to think that 50,000 is a number I've heard thrown around.
Well, yeah, that's like 126,000, but I think it's something that's. I know I've been working with Neil on that.
Right.
It's really important that we get that done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I was just wondering if it was like that, the new strobes that talk to you as well as visually and
I'm not sure what the plan is.
I don't. Neil could
Neil.
talk to you, and I guess once we fund it, you certainly could talk to Greg. And Neil is the one that's really on top of this for the school because
Sure, I
he
can
does the
find him.
inspections.
Right?
All right.
So you're okay with that article?
Yep. That seems reasonable to me.
The next article is the water mapping grant. I think this is going to get removed, but what this is we've got a grant to map all of the water infrastructure in town. The grant is $125,000. The project is $200,000. So there is $75,000 that needs to be paid for out of town coffers. I will be meeting with the water sewer commissioners to see if they have the money in their in their funds to do it. If not, it's certainly something that, considering we have the grant to pay for 2/3 of it, it's really beneficial for us to get this done once and for all.
That seems like a great thing for us to have. I'm just surprised how cheap it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like something. It feels like something. Because how else do you do it? And I'm sure they.
They like put cameras down and they
Yeah.
do what they do. And the thing is, once we get that done and we know what we have, we need to then move into a capital improvement plan with them. But, as much as they're separate in the enterprise fund, but this is what I've been talking to them about, so that they can think about long-term goals for the water and sewer, whether they have a capital improvement plan that shows like they're going to add water or how are they going to replace their infrastructure over time.
And this is for both sides of town,
Yeah,
the Freetown,
the entire
the Fall
wall.
River, and the New Bedford.
Yep. So that's a placeholder until I have more information, but
Okay.
what it would be about is funding the residual of that project.
Is that all we got for the special?
That's
Okay.
all we have now. Like I said, some things might get moved around,
Okay.
so don't get too excited.
No, I won't.
Nice.
And this one,
The warrant for so the first article is always about the omnibus budget.
yeah,
So you have that budget. I don't know if we're going to be going through that tomorrow at great length. So
yeah, probably don't.
but the article itself is just to approve the omnibus budget as it always is.
Mm-hmm.
The second article is salary and compensation of elected officials, similar to what we've done in the past. I didn't give you a raise, so.
Oh no, I don't think we've got a raise in about 20 years.
And the third article, at least, these aren't numbered because they may move, but the
Yep.
third article on here is, of course, the water and sewer enterprise fund. It's their separate budget.
Yep.
Again, we'll be looking at those over the next few weeks. The fourth article is the spending limits for assorted revolving funds, which we've done in the past. The only one here is that we added the community program director because she has a revolving fund
Yep.
that she can spend funds out of.
And the vaccine one,
Is the
that's been
vaccine, is
going
that new this year, or is it we had that last year?
No, we had that
last year. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And we've updated the figures, obviously, but the article itself is similar to what we've had.
Great.
This next article was submitted by the Conservation Commission. They're basically asking for $30,000 to have at their discretion, I guess, to put in the bank for them. I'm not so sure that this is the best thing. We've been doing the rollovers when land comes out of conservation, out of chapter land. The rollbacks we've funded into conservation, so they have some funds. Because there was no rollbacks this year, they decided to do this article. I don't know what the board's thought is on this, but this is one of those. It's $30,000.
How much is it normally? Do we have any idea?
It's the rollback taxes. So if
Yeah,
we
I
don't
mean, I guess
know,
is it much money?
it can be 20,000. I think last year it was like 175,000.
Wow.
You're right.
Yeah. So
So it's
it
not
can
an
be-
unreasonable amount. I guess my thoughts were is it $5,000 every year, and then all of a sudden they're asking for 30. You know.
No, I mean so they always ask for the rollback, but this is just asking for us to give money out of tax levy to sit in their coffers for their discretion. They have no purpose for it. They have no.
That was my next question.
They have no particular need. They don't have a piece of land that they're saying they want to buy and they need this money. I personally, I don't recommend it, but that's not my rule. You know, it's no different than any one of my departments saying, can you give me $30,000 extra in my budget just in case I need it?
Yeah.
We don't generally do that.
And I guess my question would be is what if something came up, they could come and try and find other avenues to
They
get the
have
money.
money. I mean, they do have money in their accounts, and they could come to a town meeting and ask, or we could have a special town meeting. Plus, there's grants and things involved, like park grants that can help them buy land.
Now, are there any projects that are ongoing that they would need the money for?
No,
Nothing? Okay.
Kind of put a word in it. They were saying the reason they have like, I think it was 95,000 in their account, but the price of property now is so high that they can't buy anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that,
but that doesn't mean
no,
they don't have a piece of property to buy right now.
right now, no.
So I just need to know yes or no.
I mean,
I say we leave it on and let the townspeople.
I think we just, maybe the board of selectmen doesn't take a position on it. So I'd like, if they wanted to, if conservation wants to defend that, and I'm okay with it. It's 30, it's not like they're asking for 200 grand or anything. You know what I mean? But I don't know, Carlos, what do you think?
No, I like both your points. It's low money. And it's just Mr. Tripp's point, property has gone up, and it'll be up to the townspeople. That's what this is for. So if they decide that they need 125,000 in the bank instead of 95, it's the people's will. Leave it on.
Okay. So,
We'll just say we don't take a position on it, I guess.
well, I just need to get your approval to push it through.
Yeah, we'll have an approval to put it
So
on.
you want to leave it on?
Yeah.
Purchase of the trailer for the highway department, $33,000. Probably should come after the backhoe, which is the next article that he's asking for. He's going to need the trailer to carry the backhoe.
Let's hope they approve both of them. We'll be in trouble.
So both those articles, I do know that for a couple of years they've been telling me they need a backhoe. I don't have details on what the existing condition is of the backhoe that they have. But if Chuck's asking for a backhoe, my guess is it's not too good.
Yep, that's fair.
So those are good to go through.
Yep, no problem with those. Any issues?
I don't have any issue.
Highway is also asking for a pickup truck. $278,000. This is, this truck is actually going to replace a 2011 pickup truck.
Did he get the other truck that we bought? Is that?
Yes, he's finally got he has all the trucks that he has purchased. It takes a couple of years now. We're still waiting for the building department truck. So the trucks are out about a year, even once they're funded. So any issues with that one moving forward?
No.
Nope.
No.
The next one is similar to prior years where it's to repair monuments at the cemetery in the amount of $7,500. Every year they do a certain amount of restoration of the headstones and whatnot at the cemeteries.
Makes sense. Any
Any
questions?
issues?
Nope.
$7,500, not much money.
The next one is again similar to what we have in prior years, transfer the funds from the sale of the cemetery lots for maintenance improvements. So this is just moving the money out of the account where for the sale of the lots to then do maintenance and improvements for the Assonet burial ground.
Yep.
Good with that. Maintenance of the veterans' graves. This is for $500. Just to maintain the veterans' graves. I know to put flags and whatnot. Any issue with that?
Nope.
No.
The cable fund appropriation. This is money that we collect from the, I want to say Comcast, but Xfinity.
Yeah.
That they pay the town through the contract that can only be used for certain things. And this article moves that money out of that account into our, so we can use it. And we use it for the recording of the selectmen's meetings and some equipment and things like that. It's limited to what we can use it for. So this is what we call the PEG access money. It just gives us the ability to spend it. $35,000, which is about what it costs us for our yearly expenses.
Perfect.
Accepting GM Way as a town road. You've seen this a couple times. This is just it has to go to town meeting to accept it as a formal public way.
Yep.
This is the article to do that officially. Any concerns with that?
Absolutely not.
And then we get into the zoning bylaws regarding the special permits. So these were all submitted by the planning board. These are articles that are changing our bylaws. So they've had all their public hearings and whatnot. So I don't know if you want to look at these. This first one is about multifamily shall be used.
No multifamily structure should be used, converted, constructed, or reconstructed without the issuance of a special permit from the planning board. So the explanation of this article, this amendment is to provide clarity that unless otherwise specified in the zoning bylaws, that a special permit is required. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, to put this one through.
Yeah. I mean,
Anybody else have any other concerns with it?
When we put it out there, get a better explanation of what the article is.
I was gonna say, I think we need a little more of an
Revise it a
explanation.
little bit.
yeah, that's fine.
I don't.
I just feel like it's probably well thought through and,
Yeah. I don't know. The accessory apartment bylaw amendment. So if you want to read this one, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Freetown protective bylaws. Article 11, zoning bylaws to amend section 11.19, accessory apartment bylaw, the text of which is on file with the town clerk and the planning board, and take any action. I think this one is to make them by right, as opposed to having to go for a special permit.
that makes sense.
Yeah, you okay with pushing?
I'm okay with that one.
Everybody okay with that? Anybody have any other? I'll get more information on these, but any questions on these?
No, just like before, a little explanation, just be sure it's airtight for everybody to read it.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, my voice. Again, with the explanation, once we put it out there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
beef it up a little bit.
I'll work with Victoria to get something a little more extensive.
Yeah, exactly what it means, because anytime you start throwing out the words apartments and stuff like that, you're going to get people.
Or any bylaw change, zoning bylaw changes usually bring a crowd.
Well, the MBTA one's on this, so we're probably gonna have
Oh, yeah.
some more people for that. update zoning bylaw on accessory apartment definition. So it's just changing the definition of what an accessory apartment is.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty straightforward on them.
And then I guess they're changing the actual zones use table to show that where it would be allowed by right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the next article. Funding for online permitting for planning board. This is our continued operation to try to get all of the departments up on online permitting to make things easier. I will tell you that since building and Board of Health has been on it, we have a lot less foot traffic,
Yep.
which is good for the town hall
Yeah,
because of
our parking.
our issues with ADA and our space issues. So I do think it's good for the public and the residents to be able to do things at night when they can do them, so.
So it's $30,000 for that.
Yeah, it's the startup fee for that. There is an annual fee that we will include in our budgets, but
Kevin?
Kevin Damaris, 18 East Public Street. Deb, those funds, is there some money in there to make the files available to the general public?
make the files available to, there is an option when you set up the online permitting that you can allow the general public to view what you want to view. Yours may not be that way, but there is. I know there is. You're saying no.
I'm saying I believe we had signed up for it, but at some point in time, it was politely declined when execution of the contract took place.
I'm sorry, they declined.
It was
to do
taken off. We wanted it. We don't have access. We were told by them that it was taken off. So I didn't know if it was a funding issue or what.
Okay,
So I was just wondering, because it'll be very helpful
okay.
to allow for the general public to be able to have access so they can go online.
Then they don't have to go contact your office to get.
So,
right?
yeah, right. They can go online to file that and see results and all that mess, but to just set up an account to get access to the files, everything electronically, like that was the intent.
Okay, we can look at that because I
Yeah.
know it can do that.
No, absolutely, it can.
So I don't know where, and maybe we took it off in the beginning, but we could probably add it back.
I just wanted, before we get there, and then we didn't have enough money by simply just making sure we asked for it,
Yeah.
that's all.
I think that is more than what she needs to set that up, so there should be some wiggle room in there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Again, we're back to zoning, so we'll move these around. Amend plan, these are all from the planning board. Amend plan to mixed use overlay district bylaw. So this is, I think, where we're finding, this is gonna be the MBTA stuff for the PMUD and changing that overlay district. So I do believe they are planning on doing sort of some slides and some presentation to give some more information on this.
Are you saying during the meeting?
Did they ask you about that?
Someone did mention something about an informational video, so we're going to school to make sure that we are equipped to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know council in the past has said we'll be very careful about what information we do and do not pass along, right? As far as, because we're not trying to sway
a
the
vote.
voters
Yeah.
in either direction with other things. So I'm assuming they're going to say the same for this.
I think it's just information, just so, as people are sitting there before the meeting, it'll be scrolling like we did last year, and they can see some of the information on this article. But this is the one that I think we're gonna get a few extra people to the town meeting for the MBTA zoning, if you will.
All right, so it is 6:15, so should we jump to that hearing and then come back to this?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so now being 6:15, we have a hearing here to discuss and vote renewal of Excel's recycling and junk dealer's license. So I guess first question, Debbie, has everything been submitted?
Yes,
Have all checked, everything been paid?
yes, everything's been paid, application submitted, everything was paid, although a little bit late, but everything has been paid. Excel is in compliance with my office as far as that stuff goes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or concerns from?
So they're under a junk dealer's license. So when I look up junk dealer's license, It says nothing about scrap metal or anything like that. It really looks like a secondhand license of merchandise. So are we calling it right? Is it right? I know it's been like that for years, but do we finally do, I don't know if it requires us going back to court to changing what they get for a license. I think it's worth discussion because they're crushing it and selling scrap metal. So if we're calling it a junk dealer's license, is that what we're calling metal these days? Is it we calling it junk? So I don't think we're in the proper terminology as far as what we're calling them.
I think this all has to do with the agreement, right? Too, is what it's under or whatever. So I'm not sure. I don't want to lie to you and tell you, but I think it was something to do with when it was originally permitted. That's how they permitted it, and
Yeah.
something to do with the agreement, right?
This road has been gone down.
No, I know. I went back to the 4 meeting minutes to look at it, but like, is this our chance to fix it? We keep talking about it, and I know we've done it in the past. We've discussed it. Moving forward, is it long-term benefits of saying, hey, you're not a junk dealer, you're more of a scrap dealer, and then license them as such? What do we say about?
I don't think we have that.
We don't have that authority. We lost it,
right? That option to even we have to create a new license, right? And I don't even procedurally.
Well, I think if you call it a scrap dealer, I think if you look, we don't allow them, right? I think that's been the whole argument and the whole litigation from the beginning. So, and this has been litigated, and that's what we've been specifically told. This is the license that we have to issue.
Yeah. So then the courts have ruled that way, So I obviously think I have some folks here. I mean, is there anything else you want to?
No, I'm just I'm sure to me it just sounds strange that we're giving them a secondhand license, or junk license or junk dealer's license, but they're not selling junk. They're taking metal in, crushing it, grinding it, and shipping it out to sell. Mm-hmm. So that to me, it sounds like a business that they're selling and moving metal around for scrap, not junk. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And I understand where the court comes in and says, hey, you shall do this, but is it worth, I guess, our time to revisit that court argument and say, hey, this experiment isn't really working as far as what they're called. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. It's just, to me, seems if we're going to vote on it, it's our names we're putting on it, but they're not selling junk. They're selling metal, all different types of metal. So shouldn't it be called a scrap license versus a junk dealer?
You don't have the license to be able to say we're going to vote on it as such.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's a whole different argument.
Yeah. Yeah. And this has been litigated. We have an agreement. We have a contract with them. They've satisfied all the requirements of that contract.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I did send out. I think the building commissioner Carl went out. The board of health Kevin went out and did an inspection. And
I went out myself.
Yeah,
I went and because I did not do that in the past, but it is a part of the bylaw or of issuing this license. You have to the selectmen supposed to go out and do their own inspection.
Giving you reports on what they found out there, and I'm not sure if they want to speak to them at this point, but
yeah, I mean, that's probably a good opportunity, and then we can have input.
Carl Bizzaro, building commissioner. So this is the second year we've done these inspections. I created a report my first year, my second year. This year's report pretty much is the same as last year. I found that, and so let's go back a little bit, back to agreement for judgment of 2021, as far as making payments to the town. So I'll just read it. So presently Excel estimates that based upon historical operations, now I remind you that Somerset scrapyard shut down as part of the historical, so they're gone. Right. So we asked the question, are you busy because of that? They said no, but I think being there for twice in 2 years in a row, seeing what's there, it's a massive operation. I don't think there's enough room for all the stuff there. The noise coming from there is something is concerning. Again, they're willing to work with us. We just have to suggest what those things might be. I think those containers are echoing the noise rather than absorbing it. It's echoing whatever happens inside, then it's louder. So there's that issue. Again, they're based on historical data, meaning that's when Somerset had their scrapyard working. They're no longer there. So whatever they're paying the town for tonnage, that should change, because historically now one company's out of business. How can you not be busier now? And are you making the right payments to the town? So we had questions about that, and hopefully they'll be forthcoming with those answers. But again,
I don't think there's enough room there for the operation, the size that it has. Using the water cannons in the winter is a misnomer. It doesn't work. He'll tell you, it creates snow. Doesn't keep anything from flying around. Most cases, they shut off the cannons because it's too cold to have them working. So there's some issues we're trying to work through. Hopefully they're receptive to some of the suggestions we have. We can move forward and doing the best we can while they're here.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, I'm not sure if you have anything to add.
You have my inspection report?
Okay.
No, do you? I want to make sure you all have it, right?
Yeah.
You do all have it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's in their packet.
Yep.
So I'll echo, this isn't a surprise to anybody. They are limited on space. Every business's goal is to be successful. So a lot of times that means they're going to be busier. I don't know that they are or they aren't, but it would appear that they're operating at full tilt over there. As per my inspection report, they were wetting down some areas, but to Carl's point, they couldn't wet down all areas and use certain water cannons because of the temperature and because of, time of year. I did notice windblown debris, mostly on site. I did notice industrial smells and odors, mostly on site. Now, again, the inspection and the results of the inspection are what was going on that day. Okay, so to be clear. But there were odors on site. Admittedly, there was flying debris. I walked around with Jonathan Costa. It was a very cordial visit. In spite of everything, it's a very interesting process. It's just unfortunate that where it is and how it's operating. There are a litany of conditions that are put forth on their permit through the DEP, some of which may be very helpful for the town to adopt. I don't know if we can or we can't. But I would suggest that if they're already meeting those, as they state unequivocally they are, shouldn't be too much of a burden than if they had to meet those same conditions for the town. It's just a suggestion. I don't know. There's a lot of people with a lot smarter than me to get paid a lot more money than me, and the lawyers and all that have dealt with this for a lot longer than I have in just 2 short years. But that is the result of my inspection. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, more of a general question when I'm looking at this. You're right, Kevin. Where it is, location for the residents, it's unfortunate. That's where it is. What can we do when we look at this license, or what can we do to restrict the amount of noise coming out of there? And the biggest noise I'm concerned about is, I don't know if this was with them recently, but exploding tanks from being in the crusher. Is there something where you can say, hey, no, you can't accept tanks? At least trying to alleviate some of the issues that are going on, alleviate some of the noise complaints that we get. A lot of them are for explosions. What can we do to say, hey, if you're taking a car, that's one thing. You can't take a propane tank.
Do you want me to answer that, or is that just an out?
No, if you have the answer, I'll love to hear.
So part of the DEP permit is they're required to have a separation of the tanks.
Right.
I've been out there and multiple occasions it's been shown to me that, or demonstrated to me, that there's usually one, if not two individuals that will be standing there as the material is dumped and loaded and picked up and hand sorting that and grabbing that stuff out. I can't speak definitively that the explosive noises that you're hearing are propane tanks. One can surmise that it can happen. It has happened in other locations. I'm not going to speak specifically.
Sure.
But I don't know whether you can impose that condition on it, but what I am telling you is DEP's condition of the permit is that they are not allowed to do that, and that needs to be separated out so it doesn't go through.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for explaining that. So,
To that point about being congested, they don't have enough room to spread it out. You can see it. So you're looking at a big pile of junk. How do you know if there's not something inside it? They have 2 guys to look at it, and they take material that's been vetted already. All the tape will be moved, but once in a while something does come in. But because it's piled like this, you can't see what's in there. Had they had enough room to lay it out, you get a better visual and stop pulling those tanks that sometimes get through the system.
because at the end of the day, they realize where they are, right? It's in a residential area. I know they're zoned differently over there, but you still have neighbors. So maybe our next step is talk to the person you walked around with and say, hey, can you do a better job or working with DEP to better enforcing that provision? Make sure that, slowly chopping away at not their business model, but the complaints we're getting from the neighbors, right? There's got to be some happy medium that we have to start meeting versus just continue going down the same path without a real answer, right? Because at the end of the day, the town residents want answers, and we're not really providing many. They have a right to be there. We understand that. It's unfortunate for the residents on that area, but we should be able to enforce something to help them start reducing these numbers. Because like you said, the numbers are pretty equal, right? They haven't really dropped dramatically from when you first did it till today, correct?
Right. I mean, so the use of water will reduce the noise. An overcast day will reduce the noise. I mean, there's a lot of different variables, and they do this for a living. They know exactly what has to get done. I think we just have to work a little closer with them and require things and maybe some answers that we need about airborne pollutants or noise transmission, things like that. And are you doing more business? Somehow you're going to outgrow your footprint. Right. I think, I've only been here 2 years. I've done 2 inspections, but I'm there quite a bit. I think they've outgrown that based on other scrap yards and how they operate. You need a lot of room to separate that to do a good job with it. Right. And maybe some of that stuff has to be enclosed in a soundproof area where, these nothing gets out into the volume, or at minimum gets out.
They're also using they're also using the train now, correct? They have an agreement with the commercial train, correct? And they're
utilizing. I'm going to be very careful with my words right now.
Thank you.
The process is such that they take containers over to the MBTA property. They are then loaded onto rail cars, and then rail cars are then placed on, off the spur onto the main rail and taken to another location. I don't know the location that they go to. I don't know how often. I don't know any of that. But I do know, in fact, that is what is happening, which is outside of the actual site that on 17 Ridge Hill Road.
Right. So now they have to leave the property and go left all the way down to where the roundabout is, right?
They have a lease agreement with the state.
Okay.
All right.
I would just suggest we keep saying if we can only get them to, we only get them to. And this may be a legal question. We've been to court on this. I think our conditions have been set by the court and agreed by both parties. So I don't want to speak above or get out over my skis here, but if we're going to add conditions, that may be something that we should discuss with council. But at the end of the day, I don't want to speak too much for Carl, but what we do in enforcement, Chief, also, I think we have a set of rules and regulations. We're asked to go out and do an inspection. We compare that to our rules and regulations and do enforcement that way. We have little to no local conditions set on it. So it makes it difficult for enforcement, right? There are the terms arbitrary and capricious, and I know that this time we have. I try not to be arbitrary and capricious, but it makes it difficult from an inspectional side when someone says, "Can you go over and do an inspection?" Rightly so, and we should be inspecting the facility. What am I inspecting against? When I do a food inspection, I know I take the temperature. I know that that's good or it's not. When I go over there, what condition am I measuring that up against? So. If we want to, I believe, have more useful tools, and we may be getting beyond the scope of this, but I'll end with this, that I think conditions from which inspectional services can inspect and compare would be very helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, Kevin. Yeah. I mean, and I think that obviously that's a us problem, right? It's not a them problem. If we can, if we had that set up, or which is something we should do. That makes sense to me. Because you're right. Like, I'm sure there's not a class, or nothing. Like, now, like, people are inspecting these kind of facilities very frequently. It's a special kind of skill set.
The difficulty lies in where, again, go out. There's dust blowing around, right? Okay, well. There's difficulty in it. Is it a lot of dust? Is it measurable? What degree? Right. We've been through this exercise when a compost facility wanted to locate here in town, and we get into odor control and odor measuring devices. It's a very oftentimes inexact science. It can be, but if there's at least a set of measurements or parameters by which we can at least say, okay, here we go. The sound, right? Sound, that is a 10 decibels over ambient noise. That is a standard by which the DEP measures and permits industrial complexes like this or industrial facilities like this.
Mhm.
It's very, very difficult to get an accurate sound test, right? So DEP is responsible for that, right? Stack testing, to test a stack, what's coming out emissions wise, right? You need scaffolding, you need special arrangements and power but maybe some more of the tangible things. I don't know. But I would love to be able to go out and do an inspection where I know exactly what I'm looking for and up against, and it's just not solely relying on personal.
Yeah.
My sniff is not the best. In spite of its size, it's not the best. Okay, so when I go out there, I oftentimes, if I say to myself, if I can smell it, oh my, it must be, right?
Yeah.
So I would just offer that, so.
No, we appreciate that. If there's something that in the background you can
One more
work on.
comment. So in this past year, they have made improvements to the shredder. The capacity's higher. They brought in more power to run the shredder. So I think that, again, talks to the point about it's growing. It's grown to the point where they might have like grown the area. I don't know, but there's a lot of things don't add up. Or they add up to the fact that they are expanding, and hopefully they're paying the town for that expansion. That we're not losing out somehow on that.
Right.
Yeah, well, they're paying per ton, right? They're
Yeah.
supposed to pay the
It's a tipping fee per ton, right?
And that's all supposed to be documented to the DEP.
You're supposed to have files on site for us to look at any time to prove the tonnage.
I mean, every truck gets measured on the way in, right?
Right, so I don't think they were available to you when you went
Not at that
there.
time, no.
They're supposed to be available to you upon request. They're not making those available to us on any level. I'm skeptical about the payments, but there's no way for us to know.
It's true. Yep. Okay. So I know there's some folks here want, I'm sure, make some comments or questions. I'm going to have to just limit it to like 2 minutes per person because I have a baby at home and I have to get home before my mother-in-law leaves. So I know we could be here all night discussing this, but if you please work with me and just try to limit it to 2 minutes if possible. Everyone wants to go.
Because before Alexander Drive, even yesterday, the holiday, all we could listen to was Excel running over there. The smell coming out of there. Nothing has changed over the years. We keep going through this every year, and it's always the same exact thing. We just keep kicking it down the road. I mean, his trucks are parked on the sidewalk. I gave you a picture the other day on South Main Street. They're waiting for fuel at Junior's. He backed up, he pulled way up on the sidewalk, blocking the whole sidewalk. There's a little girl there with a bike riding around at the post office waiting to go back down the sidewalk. She can't get down there because he's parked on the sidewalk. You go up the industrial park, the sidewalk up there. He's got all his tractor trailers all parked in sideways up on the sidewalk in there. Who gives them the right to park on that road in the industrial park? Nobody says anything. All these little things that he just keeps doing, and it just keeps adding up. He had you, instead of giving you the $25,000, he gave you a piece of it and spent the rest on a trailer for the fire department. That was just so you couldn't spend any more money in researching things to get them on and stuff, like to educate the people that go out there and stuff. You didn't have the money because he turned around and picked the trailer.
He gave us, the money came to the town. So the money came to the town and then it was allocated to pay for the trailer because there was this,
But I think that the way it works, it has to actually go into the town coffers, and it is our decision what to do. I think it just made sense that, they needed a trailer. So
When I was at the town meeting, that's the way it brought it.
Yeah.
It came in at the town meeting was that he told you this is what I'm going to give you for the buy the trailer.
yeah, and I think we have more clarity on that now. Going forward, I think we know like that's kind of made sense. We need to buy that. That was his intention of it. Totally agree, and that's kind of worked out that time. But in general, it does go to the town coffers. It can be used for anything that we see fit. So
Mr. Franco and Mr. Neves would have been here, but they have a funeral to go to, and there's two other people in the community that can come because it's school week's vacation.
yeah,
They're all on vacation with their kids. So. That's it.
yes, Ms. Lima.
Our neighbor would have been here as well, and then also, unfortunately, my next door neighbor on the other side has a water problem in the cellar, so she has to be there pumping stuff out. I actually have 4 points. One is the noise. The noise is unbelievable. I don't know if it's more powerful equipment or what, but today, with windows open, unfortunately, there was a sound that usually it's the slide, which is loud enough, but this sounded like a whole steel wall was dropping. It was much louder and much different in character than it's normally is. And the smells are atrocious, absolutely atrocious. There are days you walk out, you want to walk right back in because you cannot stand it. I live a quarter of a mile away, and there is trees and there is houses and there are and it is horrendous smell. It's only going to get worse with humidity, and when we are downwind of it, it is really unfortunate. The explosions continue. I walk every morning 2 miles with my neighbor. I was getting out of her car. She lives right next door. And as I got out of the car, it was so frightening because the explosion was with such intensity that it literally hit me. Like, I usually am in the house and I hear it hitting the house, the windows rattling, whatever. This hit me. And I'm like, this must be what it's like to be in a war zone. Because it was not just the feeling of the percussion, but also the sound and everything. Very frightening.
Was this last week?
Yes.
Because I mean, I think everyone heard a big explosion.
No, it wasn't that one.
Okay, all right.
I knew that was the earthquake because when the last one happened in Dartmouth, it was the same thing. And I said, that's a big one, but it's not itself.
Okay.
So I already.
Just wanted to be clear, 'cause a lot of people asked about that.
This was at the beginning, about 3 to 4 days before that. I can tell you even what time of day. I know Cecilia called. She always calls. Our other neighbor on the other side, they're on vacation this week because of school. They would be here as well. But the thing that's really bugging me, having lived here forever, and it goes kind of with what Steve is saying, these trucks, when they're coming or leaving, are going through the village. When they come through the village, God bless if you're on Elm Street and they're trying to take that damn corner. Or worse than that, and I've seen this twice now in the last week, I'm coming off the corner, going up South Main Street. They're coming over the bridge, and they are on my side of the road. There is no place to go. You've got stone walls on both sides. Why are they going through the village?
I mean, I understand that, but the problem is, right, like what we'd have to do is have we couldn't single them out, obviously, right? So there have to be a bylaw saying no 18-wheelers are allowed through a Sonnet, right? That's the only practical way to do it. And then that's a problem for a lot of other companies where, like, I understand what you're saying and I get it, and, but like, what does one do about that? You know what I mean?
And I would argue too.
Somebody's going to have an accident there before. I don't even.
I get it. I don't think. I mean, our roads are tight and it is dangerous. But I just don't know what the practical solution to that is.
That particular bridge is going to be repaired soon because rocks are dropping.
Well, believe me, we have the reports on that bridge. Honestly, what might happen is if that bridge we might deem that bridge to not be safe for trucks that size anyways, and we might actually have to have, just for safety purposes, no trucks allowed through the town. That's a very strong possibility. But I mean, I get your concern and I understand, but I'm not sure what we can do. I hate to say that.
I would argue that it's a police matter, right? Like if you see them parked illegally or driving on your side of the road, calling the police. Unfortunately, we don't have the power to stop them from doing something like that. And the police probably aren't going to be happy with me when I say this because I think they're going to get an influx of calls, but it's the truth, right? If you see something that's illegal happening, I would argue call them because I don't know that we can stop that.
We all know how that worked out because that doesn't work calling the police here because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like the trucks parking in the industrial park, like, which I get. I can understand how that's annoying, especially if you live right there. I totally get that. But like, what laws are they breaking? You know what I mean? Like what is there any kind of that? Like that's where our hands get tied. It's we can't single out one individual company because it's been decided what they're doing is by right, and if they're outside of compliance of that, that's a different story, right? And then we don't necessarily have the evidence right now that they are outside of compliance of their DEP license and, of anything else, right? So that really kind of all comes back to like today, what we are voting on today is issuing the junk license that they've satisfied all the requirements for it. And I think a lot of people in here don't like that, right? But when last time we went down this process and we didn't we didn't give them the junk license, that courts found that we were wrong for not doing that. And it led to a very lengthy and expensive legal battle for the town. So I just want to be clear, where I stand on this, right? I'm not sure if anyone else has anything else before.
Yeah, so one of my things that I do want to say is, recently a Board of Health was formed, as everyone's very well aware, right? And then there's a lot more focus in on what happens with that operation, right? They're trying to do stuff, and Kevin brought up a great point that he says, well, I smell it, but he can't hold that accountable. Well, I can smell it, I can't smell it. Well, how bad is that? I think the Board of Health has done, is doing stuff in order to try and improve your quality of life and the business as well. I think that things are heading in a positive direction as far as it goes. It's easy for me to say that to you guys, and you guys want to tell me I'm a liar, but I'm saying that more is being done now than ever has.
Could you please explain more?
Testing.
More
They've
testing?
done
Is
more
that true,
testing.
Kevin? More testing has been done?
We did some sound testing, that's correct.
Yes.
'Cause I know.
Sound, but they said smell. Correct.
We've been at this for a year now. We go over the same issues over and over again. And you brought up last year that you're going to do some testing. And so is that report available to the public to see? Okay, so, because I haven't seen that before yet either.
Yeah, but that's what, but I guess that's my point is they're trying to do stuff and it becomes a compliance issue, right? Everyone keeps saying it. The DEP has very strict guidelines as to what they need to follow. So, but it's a DEP not doing what they're supposed to in my eyes, partially, right? So you're saying, okay, this needs to be happening. Well, we only have so much that we can do. DEP has their piece, and I'm not trying to push the blame, but it kind of is what it is. So, and if we don't issue this permit, let's be clear that if we don't issue this permit, it allows them to operate under the Mass DEP guidelines, which will allow them to operate like 7 days a week and until 9 o'clock at night or whatever.
Yeah, I think we essentially violate our side of the
The agreement,
host community agreement, where I think we're paying for sins of the past, right? Whether that either having a residential neighborhood up against a industrial park, probably not the best idea, right? But that's the situation we're in, and this is what happens when you have that situation.
That was based on, these houses were there long before the zoning changed. When you guys changed the zoning back in 2015 to allow that company to be in there, that you already knew that it was next to a residential area. And when the Board of Selectmen voted to allow that to be zoned like that, you're taking the risk of.
I think it was a terrible decision. I mean, I was still in college, so I can't be blamed.
If I could, for clarification, because I hate when people leave a meeting and they're a little bit confused about stuff. Selectmen don't vote to institute zoning. Town meeting votes to adopt zoning.
Yeah.
The underlying zoning was in existence long before that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There was no zoning that was put in place to allow that. As a matter of fact,
it's the other way, right?
it was the other way around.
That's right. You're right. Thanks
put
for
in place
reminding me.
around that time to prohibit or at least require by special permit commercial recycling, commercial composting, okay? Why I'm passionate about that a little bit is because I was on the plan board and I was the chairman and I was adamant that we get that done. So something doesn't similar to this.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that we cannot control is the zoning determinations made by a zoning enforcement official.
Yeah.
That is their authority and their authority alone. We give them tools to use. They choose which tools to use.
Yeah.
So I just for clarity, because there's enough that's going on with this whole process.
Yeah.
This was not something that the Board of Selectmen took it upon themselves to vote to change zoning. That is done at town meeting after public hearings and many iterations of the proposed bylaw.
Yep. I agree. Thanks for clarification there too. And I guess what I was saying.
I agree, but.
Yeah.
But the fact remains, though, they're still operating, still explosions going on. It's been going on for the last 8 years, and we citizens have to deal with it.
I understand the frustration. Yep, Kevin.
I'm going to make one last suggestion, and I promise I'll stop talking. We have available the DEP permit. If you've got nothing but a little bit of time and a long weekend, I'd suggest you read it. And then after that, I would suggest that we insist on agencies doing what they're charged to do and coming down and assisting the town. They have a very, very extensive permit. It's very, very specific. And there's a lot of useful tools in there that I think that could and should be used. And I think what we're looking for is compliance. And once we get some compliance, I think we'll have a better product. We're simply, in my opinion, there are days where we don't have compliance. One-offs, I don't know. I'm not there all the time. These people live there. They can speak much more eloquently about it. But I was taken aback at the depth and the detail to the air permit from DEP, the specificity of it, and what their requirements are. And that's why I say, I think if those were to get adopted, some of those conditions, some of those readily available enforceable conditions that they are already meeting per the DEP permit, we had those available at our disposal, that might make it easier. If I go buy a fluff pile and see it's not covered, well, if it's a condition that it needs to be covered, well, I can cite that, right?
Yep, that
I
makes
can't
sense. Man.
cite whether the stack is out of compliance,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
All right, that's
See what
definitely.
you're throwing down, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All right, but this is a good discussion. We're on agenda item 9 of a lot, so we have to move this forward. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Can I say one more thing? Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, please keep it short.
I'm Claudia from High Street. So yesterday was a nice day out, as Steve said, that, the noises were so loud, and, I was outside doing yard work, and I couldn't even take the smells that were coming from that facility, and I live a quarter mile away. So, yeah, you have a few folks in here that live a quarter mile away, and it's just so bad. The stenches are so bad coming from that facility.
I mean, yeah.
Now, other companies out there that run this type of machine actually fully enclose it. And so why aren't we mitigating or looking at a mitigation factor such as that to simply enclose the thing to make it maybe bearable to be in the location?
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak to that. I mean, that they're in compliance with their DEP, that they're permitted at the state level. They're in compliance. And we don't have those levers, right, to force them to enclose that facility. And believe me, this has been well thought through, and that's the situation. I think that'd be great. That'd help a lot if it was enclosed, but they're a private business that is technically within compliance, and we can only do so much. And that's kind of where we stand here.
Well, there's got to be some kind of mitigation with this. This facility has been going on for 8 years now, and it's really affecting the area. It's really affecting the population in that area.
I hear you.
Speaking
You
of,
hear us, but you don't do anything about it.
Okay.
Like Steve said, it's been going on, nothing's changed, really. Nothing's, the noise.
See the one in Providence.
The odor
we're doing the same thing
permeates the
right now.
whole
You see
neighborhood.
that one on the news?
I did not.
Even on
But
days they're not operating,
You can't
you
shut
still
that
smell
down.
that odor in the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood.
Why do we have to put up with having to keep our windows shut? We can't even enjoy our yards. We can't enjoy the property that we own.
so if I'm understanding what you're asking me, so you want us to not approve this junk license, right? So therefore, then they go back to operating under their DEP license, which allows them to operate longer hours and have none of the restrictions. Do you understand the situation that we're in? Just want to make sure we're all clear here, right? And then we go into another 4 to 5 year drawn out lawsuit where we've already gone down that road and lost. So what would you like us to do?
We lost on a technicality, though. It was a legal technicality we lost on because we didn't invite the Excel representatives in the hearing or something.
Believe me, I met with counsel, right? I talked to I was told where we stand. We didn't have a good suit. We didn't have a good case. That's the reality of the situation. Okay. I mean, I don't know what else you want us to do. I get it. It's frustrating. If you live next to it's you can't control who your neighbors are sometimes. And that's frustrating. I get that. And that's why certain towns have certain bylaws and, there's like, but this is, they did what they had to do to get that facility there. And it's unfortunate for the neighbors. I get it. If I lived there, I'd feel the same way. Right. But
you don't live
you
there,
understand
you
from
don't
a
have
town
to do that.
perspective, there's what do you, like, honestly, what do you expect us to do?
So then what do you suggest?
I think Kevin gave some great suggestions. If you look at the DEP and what the criteria they have to meet to operate, and then you talk to the DEP representatives and try to get compliance, that seems very reasonable to me.
See, to me, it's all about a compliance issue and not a shutdown issue. Everyone wants to think, where's this golden egg that's going to get them to shut down? And I don't foresee that happening. They have a team of lawyers. They're going to, whatever. I don't think that that's going to happen. But I do think that it keeps coming up. They have this DEP permit that's very specific. If they follow the DEP permit the way it's supposed to, and DEP does everything, then you shouldn't have these explosions or the noise and whatever, right? So it's really, it's a lot. I don't know. I'm just thinking that it really is a DEP issue, and I'm not trying to pass it off on DEP, but I'm just saying we need to get the DEP involved and have them do something about it, right? For a compliance issue.
Who's going to make the DEP step up and do what they're supposed to do? Because we sure can't do
I
it.
mean, no, I believe me.
Answer the phone for us.
I hear you. I
Talked about
understand.
it from our side.
Turn around and put it to them like this, then, okay, the DEP works for the state. The state wants us to okay this train thing that they want to do. Are they gonna leave us in the same situation that they just left us with Excel when something goes wrong with the train? And then we're all gonna be sitting here going through another thing and going, well, what do we do now? Well, we can't make them do what they want, but we're gonna so do we vote the train thing down? And then that turns into a whole nother thing, right? We all get sued and everything else and stuff.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I know.
Sometimes the things are no-win situations. Right?
Yeah, this is one of those situations, right? From both sides of the equation. But I think what Kevin was saying and Carl was saying is, if there's an untapped way of looking at things as far as compliance sake, right? 'Cause they're like they said, they're going there, they're checking is A here within their parameters. That's what they're doing. If there's something we're missing from the DEP point of view, then that's our next step. Like Jared said, we're not going to shut this down today. I don't think it's. But how do we force them? Not force is a strong word. How do we get them into compliance based on their permit that they do have? Are we missing something to be able to bring more enforcement in?
Was there a thing they were supposed to put a liner bed in the truck when they dumped the stuff in? Has anybody been out there to see if the liner bed was still in the truck? They were supposed to put a rubber thing on the front of the loader when they drive along the ground to pick up the metal. Has anybody been out there to see if that's there? The noise from the conveyor belts, that was supposed to be done at a certain thing.
Kevin has it, but we have to move on to this topic.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Kevin, I'll let you finish and then.
I didn't notice that, but Steve, they kept saying they were supposed to. Who is they? Under what document and what condition was that, Steve? It's not in the DEP condition. So is this just at a meeting somebody said out loud, or is it a condition of the permit?
That's what the DEP said they were supposed to do.
The DEP said this.
Keep the noise down.
The DEP said this.
Yeah.
When?
Weren't you there when they were talking about putting a liner bed in the truck? When they were
If I was, I forget, but it's not a condition of the permit, Steve. This is what I'm getting at, right? You talk about enforcement, and you know this, right? Because you're in planning board and you're in conservation, right? It's not Steve's rules. It's what the permit rules, what I can enforce, what the regulations are. Give me tools, I'll gladly use them. But if there's not something that says, in order to be in compliance with the local junk dealer's license, they have to have that on there, then it's inconsequential whether they have it or they haven't. You get what I'm saying, right? If we're going to do compliance, we need to do real compliance with something that's really on paper. So I would just suggest.
You need to find that from the DEP.
Well, I have the document, and what I'm telling you is it's not in there, right? So if they said it, I haven't got any conditional documents after that. I'm sorry, Trevor. I've already.
No, it's good. All right, I'm going to call this for a vote because we got to move on here. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal of the Excel's Recycling's junk dealer's license.
Motion made.
I remove myself from.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So moving on to agenda item 10.
We have to go back. Oh wait, no.
Oh yeah.
We should go back
You
and
can do it
finish.
at the end, whatever you want to do.
Let's go back to that again. Let's just get some of this other stuff done. 'Cause I don't know how much time I have. All right.
Oh, they have paperwork, but we're not.
So, excuse me. So Agenda item 10, discussion and vote on whether to have the parade and fireworks have exclusive use of Hathaway Park on July 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, so this goes back to our last meeting. We didn't have it in the agenda, but last year we had it this way. We gave the Parade and Fireworks Committee the ability to enforce the rules that were going on at Hathaway Park, and it was much a cleaner transition versus calling somebody, let's say one of us or the town administrator, for someone parked illegally or a vendor's not parking where they're supposed to be. This is directly have the fireworks parade committee have the police move things along so that they're not waiting on a 30-minute, 40-minute discussion being had. So this is just
Ultimately the nuts and bolts of what you guys are doing, right? So it makes sense to do it that way.
All right, yeah, I think you were looking at agenda item 11, but agenda item 10 is obviously related.
Yes.
It's just the exclusive use of Hathaway Park on the 3rd and 4th. I'm sure that which makes sense, right? Set up and then
break it down, everything
whatever,
else.
yeah. So, okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to have the parade and fireworks have exclusive use of Hathaway Park on July 3rd and 4th.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item 11, discussion and vote whether to authorize the Parade and Fireworks Committee to communicate directly with the police department during the 2024 Parade and Fireworks to aid in timely answers and smooth running events. Yep. So I think we just talked about that. So I'll entertain a motion to authorize the Parade and Fireworks Committee to communicate directly with the police department during the 2024 Parade and Fireworks.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Agenda item 12 is being skipped because we're waiting on from some additional sign off. Discussion 13. This is discussion about whether to utilize ARPA funds, federal ARPA funds, for the following. So $40,000 for Hathaway Park improvements and $65,000 for fire equipment.
Hathaway Park improvements is to replace the fence along the water. That's old and
Rusty.
needs to be replaced. Approximately, I'd say $15,000. The remaining funds is to finish the work to clean up the old basketball court and get the pickleball court in there and do whatever work might be necessary to do that.
Awesome.
And then the $65,000 that the chief is here, but it's for a defibrillator for the ambulance at $40,000 about that.
41 maybe, something around.
And then pagers, because the pagers they're working under are all about 20 some years old and they're replacing them. And I just thought it makes sense to get new ones at this point while we have the opera funding.
All right. Sounds good. Any questions or concerns on that?
Nope.
You'll order some, that includes just ordering some extra pages and stuff, so that way.
Yeah, we have to worry about procurement. So we're probably going to order about 20, 22 of them. But he's got all the, when you have 30 of the existing ones, right? They're all going to be the same, compatible with what you got.
All right, great.
Cool, thank you.
All right, so with that, and thanks, Chief. For that, I will entertain a motion to utilize the federal ARPA funds for $40,000 for Hathaway Park improvements and $65,000 for fire equipment.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm not sure why this is on here.
That sounds like a bigger conversation. Or
Where's number 14? Discussion on this.
we can't do solar because of the roof is.
I don't know why this is on here.
Okay.
I think it's just, we've talked about this. We know the roof is failing. I know they want us to sign some agreements to move forward and lock in the rate with the Eversource.
Yep.
I've sent the agreements to town council, have not received them back. So it might have been that I threw on here for a placeholder, but nothing that we can skip that because I have nothing for you right now.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, then moving on. So this is discussion and vote whether the town has any interest in purchasing land encompassed by a trust located at parcel 207-111 through 111, I guess, and parcels 207-38. That's what it is.
Map to
So 0 Richmond Road, and it looks like
We have a map of it.
map and lot.
what did I say? Yeah, map and lot, yeah. So most of this land is in conservation already, right? Or has conservation restrictions?
Conservation,
Yes.
Deed restrictions.
Speed restrictions. It looks like the recommendation here is for us to not buy it from the Conservation Commission.
Yeah, it's already in trust. So they want you to buy it and it would remain in trust. So we would just be getting this as open space, more open space property. There's no risk of it not being open space because
It's already deed
protected.
restricted, right?
Except for the sliver, the piece that's out by the road, which could be a house lot. So Luann sent this to all the department heads or not all of them, but the land
So
use.
Victoria from planning,
Yeah.
she's doesn't recommend getting it, right? As well as Charlie Sullivan from
This is the
conservation.
original. So I think that Victoria and that I think she brought it to her board and they didn't feel like it was something that we should purchase.
Okay.
I think Mike McHugh felt otherwise.
Yeah, I saw that email.
Personally, I don't think we need more non-tax paying land since it's protected anyway, but.
Any questions or concerns on that?
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
What's the price on that?
Market value. So I think it was
110,000 for the 42 acres at map 207-111. And then 55,000 for the 20 acres, which is parcel map 207 lot 38.
How many total acres?
62 acres total, 2 parcels.
a lot of land, but it's just not buildable. Yeah, it's just not
No,
buildable.
absolutely. For us, it makes no, but it's deed restricted. So it basically has to stay woods.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's a big
Island
caveat. So
trust.
that was my first question. Cause I'm like, all right, is there a way for someone to have an angle to buy this and turn it into something else? And the answer is no,
Yeah.
because it's deed restricted.
There is one possible buildable lot out by the road. And that's it. I think it's buildable just because it's not deed restricted. There is a piece that is not deed restricted, very
That
small
little
piece.
triangle piece that
Yeah.
says also
The
this.
triangle piece.
That's
Right there,
what I'm
yeah.
talking about. So.
So they sent the letter. It's not a first right of refusal. It's just they're offering it to the town before they put it on the market. If you would like to buy it, but if not, we'll just send off saying that we're not interested.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess I'll entertain a motion to say that we're not interested in purchasing the land encompassed by trust located at parcels 207-11 and parcels 208-38, Zero Mission Road.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so now we have a proposal from Stark Architects for the vestibule at the Council on Aging.
This is all part of the pod project. We need now like a entryway to connect the two to
Yeah.
the building. So unfortunately, I think it's something I could have done myself, but I just don't have any more time.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm out of time.
And so total there is what, like
I think it's
17,000. Which actually, considering how crazy expensive some of this stuff is, it's not terrible.
No, well, that's part of it. I did not have him bid other things. I'm hoping that me and Carl can do some of the procurement piece of this, but it may be that there'll be more coming once we get there.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Is that part of the 2020 budget increase that we approved for the Council on Aging improvements? I think it was like $500,000.
Yeah. So that's a long story, but yeah. So there was that money, and that was for the addition, right?
Right.
That is not going to happen now for a lot of so that then additional monies were provided.
Right. And I
Right.
know we voted
Twice.
Additional monies, the same amount. We're going down the road. We've created a joint committee that's a COA and library. So we're going to build a net new building for both of them.
Right.
But the seniors need places. They need space now. So we are able to use. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're using some of that money. So there's it's called a pod, right?
Yeah.
But it's
a trailer.
But it's pretty nice. It's nice. It has bathrooms and it's it's AC and heat and it's nice. And it's going to be attached to the Council on Aging just to provide more space for programming up until just because they have an immediate problem and our solution is not going to be an immediate solution, unfortunately, right? These things take years. So.
And yes, we did reallocate that money from that original article for the pods, this will come out of that original money for the engineering piece of the pods.
So we
is
had
what it is.
1.1 million total. It was 550 initially, and then 550 again, right? So that the pods, and then the pods were bought so that we could possibly use them down the road for other uses as well.
Yeah.
They're temporary classrooms. If you've seen a temporary classroom, is basically what they are, but they're not going to be used as a classroom.
All right. Any other questions, concerns? All right, so that I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposal from Stark Architects for the vestibule at the Council on Aging.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, yeah. I mean, this-
17, so it's discussion and vote on sending out school survey regarding prioritizing school improvements on Freetown Flash. So just using Freetown Flash as a way to,
I'm not sure that we can, after having a conversation, I thought we could. Lakeville is sending it, just putting it on their webpage.
yeah,
So I'm thinking that I'd rather just put it on our webpage as well as a link, because we're trying to figure out the Freetown Flash. There is an email option that I thought I could attach it to, but I'm not sure we can make attachments to it at this point. So,
okay, so let's hold off on that one.
yeah,
So we
can you
figure
just
out-
vote that I can put it on the
Yeah, yeah.
webpage?
So with that, so I'll entertain a motion that we can, to utilize the town website for the survey regarding school prioritization improvements in the period, I guess.
District.
Well, it's on there as Freetown Flash. So would we be changing it too radically if we say from Freetown Flash to the town website? I'm just asking.
I don't think so. I think it's
Okay.
okay.
All right, then with that,
Same intent.
if that's fine, then I say motion made. I'm okay with it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, perfect.
Yeah, I have a question on number 14. Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay, did I ask it?
I mean, we're not discussing 14, but if it's a quick question, I think we could,
Is that something that would be part of the school budget process or?
it would be,
Own the school.
Right.
yeah.
So that's why.
It's like our first,
So it's part of maintenance, so we're responsible for the school. The school budget is something that's funded to the school.
Is
To
that
fund-
considered an addition to the building though?
You're talking about solar panels?
Yeah, the solar panel.
So the
project?
solar panels would go on, because we own the building, we have to approve it. We also did get the school committee's approval, so they're involved in this
Okay.
process.
Yep.
But of course, if the solar is gonna create create savings for the power, those savings actually go to the school district as opposed to
Right,
to the town. It's
they'll
not gonna
get
come to
credits,
us.
Right.
Yeah, but the reality is, the lower the school budget, the lower the budget is, our
Sure.
portion is less, because we have to pay less to the district
Right.
for them to run our schools. So I wouldn't say that it's going to be a benefit to our specific individual budget, but the school budget is part of our budget, right? Almost
yeah,
50%
it's
of
a,
our
yeah, I was gonna say,
total
it's the
town
largest
budget.
part of our budget.
Right.
So indirectly, sort of, we benefit, because they'll have to pay less
Yeah, I
electric
definitely see a
bill.
benefit there, yeah.
But it's just about being green too, and about being, it's a
That's the
huge
direction we're
roof.
going.
But it's also sets us up in, like, potentially just checking the boxes for other kind of grants we could potentially get, because,
Right.
it just makes it look overall better. But the problem is the roof right now is not in any shape.
Too old right now.
It's in
Yeah.
bad shape, so.
And at millions of dollars to replace. So
Yeah.
that's really,
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far into this, but
Yeah,
we just
so I
had
don't
a
wanna take
drone.
much of the time on that.
No, I know, but we have a thing doing that. A drone is actually able to go up there and fly and tell us
Oh.
how much
Section.
life is left for the roof.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to know a lot more about it and then decide what we're going to do
Okay.
with solar and stuff. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to fill you in on that.
Yeah.
too.
All right, good
Thank you.
question. Yep, absolutely. All right, so agenda item 18. So this is ambulance abatements and write-offs. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the ambulance abatements and write-offs for March 2023 in the amount of $75,465.66.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Is that just people not paying their bills?
pretty much. Yeah,
The difference between what the insurance companies
Right.
pay and what we can receive.
and we're just not in the business of going hunting people down for, especially when
We do have
Yeah.
a company that goes out and tries to collect the money for us and
Got
stuff. So
collection
it's,
agency, yeah,
Yeah, but if it's after a certain amount of months,
right, they just give it up.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which and like 75,000, that could be like 3 ambulance rides.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, all right. So now agenda item 19. Vote on whether to declare a retired 2009 Toyota Camry and a 2008 Cherokee as surplus and post them on Municibid. I can't ever pronounce that. I want to call it muni bid, but it's not.
Yeah.
Municipal.
Municipal bid. So it's we'll book it. We'll and we don't even, doesn't even matter what it's worth, right? Because it's just a auction website, right?
There's an auction. I don't know if you want to put a, you can put a.
We can put a minimum value.
Yeah.
So that way, if someone goes on and bids $50 on the car and no one else bids on it, then we have to sell them the car for $50. So we can put a minimum amount. And then that way, if no one meets
But I don't know if we want to put that minimum amount on public record because then someone's just going to bid over that.
But it would still just be a minimum. So then if I said 2,000 and then someone else could go in 2001, and it go on.
Yeah.
It shows the amount that we say, like if
No, it'll show that
the
regardless.
starting bid is this, which is
Yeah.
what the lowest.
It's just so you don't, like you say, somebody doesn't pay attention and you sell it for $50. I mean, the Jeep, I don't know. The Camry has a little bit of life left in it. And the way
I would think-
used cars are. Luann
Of
gave me
course,
some
anything,
numbers.
right? But I would say if you have to put a couple $1,000s on, say, the Camry and then like $1,000 on the Jeep, so that way we eliminate the fact of having the person get a car for $50.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens. I guarantee there's plenty of people who go on that website looking for deals.
And also,
you
but
never know.
same thing, we want to get rid of this stuff. Don't we? It's either we're lucky we're getting anything for it, right?
Right.
Generally, we would just
Yeah.
scrap it.
I'm
Right.
really
Or just
surprised.
donate it?
I mean, what's
It's
that?
been surprising that some of the things that we've put on there, that they were bidding wars over things.
Really?
We were like, no one's even going to bid on this. And we were like, holy mackerel, we wanted 500, but we got 2,500.
Really?
Yeah. There's
Wow.
been a few cases like that. I was surprised.
I think that
Well, I
Toyota
don't even
Camry's
say
actually
we're-
got good life.
Yeah.
But the Jeep, no.
Stick with Kelly Blue Book, whatever they say, and go from there.
Yeah, but the Kelly Blue Book's probably
Yeah, a little high.
little higher, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I was just worried more about the $50 thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
It just
I
sells
think
a
that's so few
minimum.
and far between.
Yeah, with
Once again,
a reasonable minimum. That's what we should. Is that fair for?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
that's my thoughts. And
All right. So I'll always entertain a motion to declare the retired 2009 Toyota Camry and 2008 Jeep Cherokee as surplus and post them on Unici bid with a reasonable minimum bid.
motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, not my best
guess-
motion.
Well, I was just worried about and I don't want to drag this on, but what do we do? Who's going to deem it?
We'll just figure it out, me and Luann.
Luann's trying to figure out what's reasonable.
Get it done.
She's got the legwork.
She's got the glasses on. She's ready.
Because
Kelly
what I
Blue-
don't want to happen is like she puts it on there and then municipal bid's like, well, you're crazy for saying this,
Yeah.
and then you have to bring this back up on. It's like they'll figure out what's reasonable. And,
Yeah, no. We're,
okay.
I don't know, we're pennies here.
Okay, so now we have the entertainment license, public entertainment license for Lakeside Festival on 5/25/2024.
26.
26.
Wow, 5/26/2024, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. Any questions or concerns with that?
Sounds like a good time.
No? All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the public entertainment license for Lakeside Festival on 5/26/2024, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
All right, fast track through the personnel board here. Item agenda 21, I acknowledge the resignation of Gary Sylvia as truck driver effective 4/8/2024. Thank you, Gary, for your time. Item agenda 22, discussion and vote whether to approve the following appointments. A, Stephen Tripp to Sewer Line Extension Committee, Planning Board Representative effective 4/9/2024 through 6/30/2024. B, Deborah L. Petty, Serped, Commissioner Member, Board of Selectmen Representative effective 5/31/2024 through 6/1/2025. C, Victoria Alfaro Duran, Serped Commissioner Member, Planning Board Representative, effective 5/31/2024 through 6/1/2025. D, Patrick Lee as Police Department Acting Sergeant, effective 3/27/2024 through 6/30/2024. E, Melanie A. King to Master Plan Committee, effective 4/17/2024 through 6/30/2024. Any issues, comments, or concerns?
Nope.
All right. I entertain a motion to approve the individuals representative from 22A through E, effective on the dates as said.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Board of Commission.
All right. Agenda item number 23, discussion and vote on whether to approve the kayak storage agreement for Hathaway Park for kayak rack. So we have it in our agenda here, the release and waiver for liability. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but it looks fine to me, so I don't know if anyone else has any other questions or concerns.
Nope.
It went to town council for
As
review.
long, as long as that attorney did look at it,
right.
I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah.
It was quite extensive. I was quite surprised to see how lengthy it was. I was like, they thought of this.
So any other?
Nope, no concerns.
All right, so with that, I entertain a motion to approve the kayak storage agreement for Hathaway Park and kayak rack.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to agenda item 8
Is
first.
that the warrant?
That's the one and then we can go. So that's not the warrant, that's the other one.
The letter? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this is a letter for the Democrat and Republican committee chair people, and they have to. Sorry, I can't find the actual
Thank you.
letter. It's
Do you want to look at it? I don't know
it's
what
a
I'm
it's a
looking at.
big packet today, by the way.
Yes.
Well, you don't have to tell us.
But we got here early.
Hundreds of pages.
These are the draft letters.
Who's it on?
Yeah, you want this? Yeah.
Page 28.
Okay.
Definitely
All right.
the
Just
letters,
so
not Parks language.
this is
Here's the actual letters.
this is the annual letter from the Board of Selectmen to town committees. So this is in accordance with Mass General Law, right? In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 5412, the Board of Selectmen are required to notify in writing the chairman of the Democratic and Republican town committees to acquire a list of candidates who seek to be appointed as election officers. These lists must be filed by June 1st of the same year and may be addressed to the Board of Registrars and Town Clerk for action. As further outlined, Mass General Law, Chapter 5412, lists supplied by the town parties will be reviewed and provided to the Board of Selectmen by June 30th for further action. And the following chairs, Gene Fox and Kayla Churchill. Any problems with that?
No.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the annual letter for the Board of Selectmen to town committees for committees for lists of members seeking appointments.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So now we are at
24.
Page 8 of the warrant.
we gotta continue the warrant, right? Try to buzz through this. So, I mean, I think we know that
The zoning map
The
needs to
zoning's-
go on there because that's a time-sensitive thing
yep,
for the MBTA overlay district. So those have gone on there. They've had their meetings. So that's that. Funding of the replacement of the police cruiser. I'm probably going to pull this out of there and put it in our budget because we have a capital equipment line of the budget. But this is a cruiser got totaled. Our insurance proceeds didn't cover the cost of replacing it, and he needs an additional $31,000 to replace it. So, like I said, I think that
there's a couple other things, right? It's like it's a Dodge Durango, it's a 48,000.
yeah, I think that's the total though because we got about $40,000 in insurance. So
Okay.
the extra $30,000 will pay for the cruiser to be replaced.
So the whole cruiser altogether is like 67
Right.
grand.
So I'm not sure this here's the thing again, it's about timing. He needs it. He wants it sooner than later. So it may go in as a warrant article on the special town meeting so that the money will be available the very next day.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how everything lands, I may put it in the budget as a capital item. So, but as long as the board is okay with it going forward as an article, when I finalize everything, I'll have that option.
Yeah.
Map 210, lot 78, relinquished claim request. This was a petition. So it doesn't say that, but it is a petition.
It says petition reform map.
In the title. I just put exactly how it
Oh,
was.
I see it, but we'll be more clear on this, but it's a
Yeah.
petition and this is the wording they gave us. So nothing we can do about it. The petition was created and it was certified, the votes, and so it has to go on the warrant. It doesn't really even speak English, but we'll figure that out as we go.
Nothing we can do about that one.
Funding the capital improvement plan. I'm going to remove this actually. Sorry, Luann. I didn't. I think there's a grant available for it. I just didn't want to wait, but I've got so much other work right now that we can wait for the grant. Okay. This one is we rent out a portion. I shouldn't say this. The school district rents out a portion of the Freetown Elementary School to the Southeastern Region Collaborative, READS. They rent 3 classrooms. We get $60,000 a year for that. And that money comes directly to the town. After this year and seeing the maintenance issues, I would like to set up a fund that when the rent comes in from the school, that it goes into the fund to repair the school and it doesn't get into our general funds. So that's what this article does.
That makes sense.
And we get the language from town council, but that's what I would like to do with it. And that way you start to accrue some of the monies that we're going to need to maintain the building.
And then when you have to put a roof on, you have the money.
Yeah.
Well, some of the money helps.
Some of the
out.
money. I mean, my thought is to put the rentals in there and say we have free cash in the fall, that maybe we throw a little bit more money in there, and so that when these big expenses come, we're not sitting without any way to come with them. So there's a couple of them. The next one is to actually establish the school maintenance stabilization fund. The first one was to put the money into that fund. So then I have to reverse the order of those, but that's what's going on there.
I like it.
So this year it's just to move the money out of the general fund into the stabilization fund, $60,000.
Perfect.
Tax title payment plans. Now this article as written is we're gonna probably condense this a little bit, but basically what this one is about is we've been entering into payment plans with people that that are in tax title, which is what we want to do. We don't want to take people's
Yeah, we don't want to be a homeowner for no reason or
right.
landowners.
And however, there's sort of no rhyme or reason what the plan is, how much time we give them to pay. This is actually a Mass General law and a statute that we did not adopt as a town that we really need to adopt to be approving these payment plans. It gives you by this Mass General law, it would give them 5 years to pay. And it's very detailed. Like they have to pay 25% down and then they have 5 years to pay it. And if they pay it in a timely fashion, the town has the right to waive 50% of the interest, which is huge because the interest rate is at 16% for these outstanding things. Yeah, so
That's
it's
crazy.
a lot of money. So I think this would alleviate a lot of stress because people come in and, they're crying and then Patty has to tell them, no, we can't give you a plan.
Yeah, we need to have rules.
It needs to be not subjective to who the person is. It needs to be like objective. This
Town-wide.
is
Totally agree.
and it gives them 5 years. And I've always said, I'm not sure that we have the authority to give anybody more than 3 years without going to town meeting, right? There's nothing that we can agree to that can go beyond 3 years. So this is why it's got to go to town meeting, because it's a 5-year payment plan. It's Mass General law. And I think basically what you're looking at is the Mass General law that was put in here. So that's why I say we're going to figure out a way to condense that.
Yeah.
But that's what that's doing. And so some of this is just, I've got to clean it up because I didn't have time to really go through it.
No, this is a great idea.
The next article is about uncashed checks. This is, I know, we're cleaning up some policies. I'm sorry, but we can move these. I mean, one of the suggestions was that this warrant.
I'm going to make a motion that we don't have to read this during town meeting.
One of the suggestions was maybe we have a special town meeting just for all these policies, but I think we can get through them.
No, yeah, they're not.
I'll just clean them up. It's basically it's about uncashed checks and tailings and the procedures that we have to do to collect them.
Okay.
Again, it's a procedural thing. We've been doing this anyways without a bylaw in place.
Okay.
The next one is the health insurance tobacco rate, as I call it, where we've been paying 95% of retirees' health insurance.
Yeah.
Where the law only allows you to pay up to 90%. If you adopt the law, which we have not adopted. So what this is adopting that Mass General law that gives the selectmen the ability to pay an amount from between 50% and 90% of retirees' health insurance. Right now, we don't have it in place. It's another one. I'm just trying to clean up procedurally what has happened. We're doing it. We're paying 95%, but we don't have the bylaw that actually,
I think it's important, like for this one, because I think people might, push back. It's like currently, we are paying more than any other town by it's crazy. We're paying 95% of the premium here. And also I don't know, we can't really say this because we don't know, we'll have to vote on it, but I would expect us to have a 5-year plan to get us back to a more reasonable place.
Well, so all this does is allow you to pay for the town to pay up to 90%. Right now, if we don't adopt this, we're supposed to be paying nothing. So we're against the law right now. Like it should be 0%. So I'm trying to clean up the mess so that you're in compliance more than you're not in compliance, right? And then this is not going to change anything. Just accepting this at town meeting will not change the percentage. That will come back to the selectmen to say, okay, as of January 1 of 25, we're going to now pay 90% instead of 95. And that will give us time to let the retirees know that the amount will change. It's minimal because it's the Medicare piece, but it's big when you're doing it times 200 retirees.
Yeah, a lot of retirees,
But I think, so this will be coming back to the selectmen for further discussion and vote if this gets approved at town meeting. But what I'm trying to do is clean up the statutory stuff so that we're in compliance with what we're already doing. So the next article that is not drafted, but you see a placeholder for it, is for the spouse of the retiree. Because again, that's a whole separate article. And again, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're paying 95% of the spouse. I will tell you there is 3 articles from Mass General Law. One that says we can pay less than 50%, exactly 50%, or 50% or more. I'm assuming that you want me to get the one that says 50% or more, just like we're doing for the retiree, and get that one. So then you can, then it's a selectman vote to determine between 50% or 90% that we pay.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I will have that drafted.
50% seems a lot more reasonable than
95%, right.
But at least it gives you that flexibility to, like you say, if you wanted to start at 90 and work your way down, at least it's not this big hit to the retirees.
No, and we wouldn't do that to them.
And I know you weren't
Let's
going to
be
do
honest,
that.
and let's be
So-
honest, like how it affects once we have the actual numbers in front of us, will dictate what we're going to do. But there's no way we're going to go 50% or less. So
Right.
I thought. So I'm just waiting for there is drafting the specific language, but the warrant article will be in there. So that's what that OPEB spouse health insurance is. Allow the abatement of unpaid taxes on land under $25. If somebody owes under $25, for us to go for tax title and tax collection and try to get it is just ridiculous. And so, but we by law have no vehicle to abate that because we are under DOR's rules. So this would allow us to say if it's under $25, we're not going to take any action to collect it.
Yeah, it's under like $5,000. That's what it should be. Like,
We go after them for.
Well, the example you provide here is the town has spent hundreds of dollars to collect $1.94 since 1967.
The last 2 are the stabilization funds, which I probably will remain. I probably won't fund them because if we don't have free cash, I'll probably take them off.
Okay.
But we kind of always have them on there in case we need them. So that's them.
Did we miss 2 on page 14, the James White Library?
Yeah, we did miss the
We
James
did.
White one.
I'm
I saw.
sorry.
I noticed
There are
that.
2 at the bottom on page 14.
Oh, it's because of all
That's
that
because that
red.
was a really long one before.
So we know that this one, we know that we are now entertaining leasing the James White Library for $1 a year from the trustees.
Does that allow us to do stuff like
That will allow us to maintain the building.
awesome?
But we need town meeting approval, so this is that. This will accomplish that. And then the community program spending, I'm trying to see, because she can charge for events, so she's planning events. If, say, she charged $5 a head for some event and put the money in our fund, which we have a revolving fund for that, I just want to be able for her to then immediately be able to spend it without having to come to town meeting and spend it.
We didn't have that already.
We have the revolving
The
fund. set up last
$6,000
year.
one.
We established it and funded it the first year, but not.
Yeah, we didn't fund it the first year. We funded her budget. So she
The
has
budget, yeah.
$6,000 in her department
Yeah.
budget. The revolving fund is established with no money in it. So what I want to do is if she charges, she puts it in the revolving fund, but technically she's going to wait to town meeting to get it
To
out.
ask for the get the revolt. Yeah. We don't want that.
So I just want it to be, if she's in there, she's got money and she can spend it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. I'm waiting for town council.
Okay,
That'll
that
be
seems-
something that they.
Yeah.
You know.
That seems reasonable to me.
I have
Like
a
within.
couple of other, just a couple of other quick capital items that were requested.
Yep.
which didn't come in as warrant articles. I've got the 10-passenger van for the seniors that we got an earmark for from the state, Governor Haley, and then of course half of it was removed because state coffers are paying for other things. So we can't purchase the van. We need $51,000 to complete the purchase of the 10-passenger van for the seniors. I'm going to put that in as a capital expenditure, unless there's an issue. And then the fire department has asked for a new ambulance at $550,000, which is crazy because we just got delivery of the other ambulance that was $384,000 2 years ago. And he's also asking for a truck with a utility bed for $100,000. I asked him if he could wait. Now, it takes 2 years to get an ambulance. I asked him if he could wait on the ambulance. He's like, I'm not sure. He went back and he did say he could wait for the ambulance. I said, you just got a truck last year. I think maybe he's like, I need the truck more than I need the ambulance.
Okay.
So as we get closer with our budgets, the ambulance may come off the table and maybe it's something we find with free cash in the fall.
Okay.
But does anybody have any opposition to it if I do have the money?
No, I'm not. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, this stuff, to your point, takes forever. So,
Right.
Thanks for having it. And also, like with the train coming in, like we're gonna have a lot more need for, and like it's just
we have
just
the two ambulances. This would be replacing the older two.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep them pretty much on a rotation every 6 years. So, so every 3 years we're buying a new one, and like I said, it may just be that we can do it at town meeting. I'm close. I think I have enough money right now, but of course we're still honing in on the budgets tomorrow and stuff, and we'll be fine tuning those numbers as we go.
Perfect.
And that was all. I just want to make sure we're all okay with it. And there's other wiggle room that I could not fund if we need to not fund something, but those are all the big asks. And so the only other thing left is everybody. So I just need a vote that you're okay with all these warrant articles moving forward to town council.
Yep. All right. So I'll
Both
intend.
the special and the ATM.
So I'll intend a motion that we approve enclose, right?
Do you have to close it for submissions?
Yeah.
We already did that.
You do that?
You want to close it? Yeah, I don't think we closed it though.
I
It's
don't
still
think we
open.
closed
Yeah.
it.
So you
All right.
close it.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve and close the annual town and special town meeting warrants for submissions and to send the draft warrants to town council for review.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's really it. What is there? Was there just me at the bottom updating the stuff? So just updating you on the bathrooms at Town Hall. We got 2 bids, pretty close to each other.
Great.
The Stark is vetting the applicants in terms of their background and stuff. I'm waiting for them to give those to me, so they may be on the next meeting for you to approve the contract. So that is moving forward. The fire station, I met with them yesterday on the renovation. We're getting right down to the wire there in terms of being able to go out to bid. Everything is moving forward. I think we're going to be looking next Monday at the dollar figure and line item by line item, just to see where we're at financially. So that's moving forward. And the community program newsletter, you guys got that?
Yeah. Great.
So it's
Looks
quite
good.
extensive. We're trying to send that out by an email somehow. We're still working on it, but just so you have a sense of what she's doing, she's
I
out
like
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a neat little thing if we can get it.
Yeah,
to
this is
move
what
off
I
the
think.
needle.
This is
A lot
awesome.
of information in there, and it will continue to grow.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So I just wanted you guys to see it. You don't need to
That
vote
was
on it or
great.
anything, but just in case there was something in it that you didn't want or you didn't like, you can comment.
No farmers markets. That's
So-
awesome. No, I think like this is something we need in town.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
It's
I'm happy to see it.
information for
We started talking about it years ago at the Open Space Committee saying, hey, we need to let people know what we have and what we do. And this is just, it warms my heart. I'll be honest. I'll get a little nostalgic on it. I know you have time constraints, but this is exactly what we need. Like
Yeah,
you said,
I think it's great.
Good job for Kylie and the community program director for doing this.
Yeah, she's working. I mean, she's working out well. I think she's gonna get more and more information and more programming. She's working on the summer concert series. I know that there's a Johnny Cash tribute band coming to the bandstand.
That's
so,
awesome.
My
Yeah.
daughter loves Johnny Cash.
I love
so-
Johnny Cash.
Love them.
That's cool.
So that, it's gonna be like 6 to 8, and there'll be like maybe we're trying to get like an ice cream truck or something. So you come down, have some ice cream, listen to some music, walk around. So she's doing some things there, some good things. So
Love the excitement.
Yeah. I also heard the pie eating contest made it to the survey. So start getting prepared, gentlemen.
she had 70 responses as of
That's
last
awesome.
week when I met with her. So
Great.
yeah, so that's that. I think I'm done unless you have any questions for me about where we're at with everything's moving forward as far as I think I'm keeping all the balls in the air right now.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. It doesn't go unnoticed from you.
Yeah, no, you guys are kicking butt. So
I'm hoping we're getting over the hump here, I think, with the warrant and the budgets and
all right, so it looks like the next we have just reorganized the Board of Selectmen, choose chairman, personnel board chair, and Board of Parks and Commission chair. I guess I'll just put this out there. I'd like to remain chair.
All right.
But that's I'm just gonna put that out there as my hope. Obviously, it's a vote here, so we'll figure that out. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or opinions on that.
Yeah, I like to counter you on that and be the chair. That's one of as my last year. Well, if I don't run for re-election, which I will, but as my no guarantees, I would like to take that role. Give you a little bit of a break. I don't mind hearing your voice, but
So I knew this is what was going to happen. So guess who it all falls on? Who gets the shoulders, right?
right.
And Trevor's been chair for me for the past 3 years. So that's kind of what I know. You're obviously a passionate individual and, whatever. And so I appreciate that. And so I would be lying if I didn't say me thinking of this didn't bother me tremendously because I knew that this was coming up and it's a double-edged sword. This is like some of the other things we had to talk about tonight. I think back to last year where I said, you know what, we've done a good job of going against the grain. Your last year, you become board chair, and then that's that. And I didn't take it. So I think that we've done a great job, and I kind of want to keep things going on the momentum they are, and as well as you recently taken on a role with Board of Health. So I think that was kind of, there's one more thing, a large family involved in every sport known to man. So I hope you truly understand that. Don't take this to heart from me because I really do have all the respect in the world for you, Carlos. So I'm going to say that we keep Trevor as chair. Just, once again, truly, I'm not.
I don't come here to take things personally, so it works. That's fine with me. So
yeah. So
what about the other two?
coming back next year.
Oh, yeah, we want.
I respect it.
Here's the issue: personnel board and then Board of Parks and Commission, because of what his other hats he wears. I think we're going to have to kind of keep things the same,
right?
And as well as he's done a great job with personnel board as it's related. So.
Yeah, I don't envy that one.
It gets fun.
I know. I was it at one point. Actually, that was my first.
I mean, not that any of them are easy, but you know what I mean. Like it's just
yeah.
So,
all right. So I guess I'll entertain a motion that we keep the board exactly as it is.
Motion made.
Makes it easy. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should we have to call out what it is?
Yeah, maybe.
So-
All right, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, just to call it out and say that you're going to be.
vote for himself, right?
Oh, okay. So, all right. So how about this?
In the past.
I will entertain a motion to make Trevor board chair and Carlos personnel chair. I can't do it for myself though. So I guess it really wouldn't matter. There's no easy win. I think Trevor is going to have to call it out.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
I think it was fine right now, and let's just ask council.
Yeah.
Just
We
to
must
see.
have, it's what we did last
It's almost
year,
a
right?
bizarre one, right? Because we're voting
I think
about ourselves.
everyone's voting the same. You have the two for each one, so you're probably okay with everyone voting the same. If it was 2 against 1, then it might be different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I say we go just ask council if we have to vote on it. We can vote on it next meeting first thing, and we'll take it from
We
there.
can vote if there's a problem. We'll re-vote. How about
Yeah,
that?
there we go.
There you go.
So I think do we vote?
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering if we should call out what you say. leave
Let's do a
things
roll
change.
call.
Yeah, no, I say leave it exactly. His vote was fine, I think, I guess now.
Okay, they all voted.
I think so. It's been a long night.
I know. It's been a long. I've been up since like
Yeah.
6 a.m. I had 8 hours of meetings, and then I came directly here. My eyes, I feel like they're gonna fall out of my head. But we need a sign now, so let's sign, and then we'll adjourn.
There's a
Joe.
question on the, when you have to vote on positions, is that like every 3 years? Is it
Every
year.
every year you guys vote on? Oh,
So every year, a new person
Right.
theoretically, thank you, town of Freetown, was reelected, right? So now the board would have to realign because if I wasn't here or something
Okay.
happened, so every year it changes.
Letters for the local town committee, probably.
And that's what
I need to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow. I think Abby figured this out for me already. But I don't know what, I hope
She didn't tell you exactly.
she probably did.
probably did
She
twice.
probably did, yeah.
Thank you.
That is now on the public record.
Yeah,
Payroll.
that's great.
Well, it's a joint meeting with the FinCom, and it's all about the budgets.
I think there's another one.
Second one.
Yeah, I definitely like to go to that. I'm gonna try.
So it's interesting, right, to hear, because we've got police and fire who both are asking for personnel, so you're gonna want to hear the budgets, but of course, I've vetted the budgets before they get to you, so I'm okay with all of them at this point,
Okay.
but,
So now the end of the world if I can't make it? Is that what I'm hearing? And are you guys are going, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the
Tomorrow?
day, you just vote whether you recommend it or not.
Yeah,
It's really the FinCom that's.
Yeah, that's true.
More of control, but it's, like I said, it's really a good way for you to get in-depth information about.
This is going down, right?
Right one. That's your Excel application.
You
You know,
know, this is all good.
yeah, if you can't get it.
I it might already be sorted out if Abby talked to her mother. But I feel like
Touch base with me during the day,
I will.
I can always get you I can get you, well, you have the budget book now.
I do.
So you can look at those 3 budgets, and then if you have questions or concerns, you can let me know.
Yep. I'm always feel like I'm gonna
I do it all day long with
like-
these pens. I love the pens. But
They're nice
I'm
pens.
Wet and I'm like, yeah.
I started buying these more
All
often.
over
I see you.
Pants one day, I was at the school committee meeting, and I was just, I don't know what I was doing. And all of a sudden, I just left this big mark on my light tan pants. It's never coming out.
This is just you for the start.
stop.
So will you go back?
Oh yeah.
Do I sign anything?
So this year they changed the rules. So if you were to go in the top
Usually I'm
5,
signing
you
something,
had
but nothing.
the option to go to
Hope the Pokey Place. Pokey Place wasn't open today for lunch.
So I did better than last year.
I guess they're open to
By
like
quite a bit.
three to.
I would have just did 4 seconds better. I would
I'm
have
gonna try to go by there. I had like
had
a
a chance to do the next
Southwest
level.
Bowl. It looks really
I'm
good.
looking at that going.
I've
Like
got
everything you
lunch
just
there
listed off,
last
right?
week.
Plus family.
I make my
My wife's
own,
like,
but-
you're not doing that.
That's decent,
This
yeah.
is your Lakeside Festival. It's just you.
Gonna get better.
I got edamame, and I got seaweed salad, which I love, and.
Is it kiwi or quinoa?
What am I having for supper? I got nothing.
I have nothing either. And Abby's in Toronto.
When is she coming home?
Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon.
At some point, everything I
Work
see.
maybe?
Yeah, and then I go to.
Oh, I got pictures.
Well, then she goes to Austin,
Yeah, we were on the way back.
and I
Solar
go
eclipse.
to. And she gets back from Austin, and then the day she gets back from Austin, I go to Calgary.
Couldn't see anything. Get to the airport.
I'm missing town meeting.
They're like, oh, if they come, you know, we were at the
Which
USO.
is unfortunate,
All of a sudden
but-
it got
Not
dark.
great.
And then light again.
I just don't.
Oh, there must have been.
I don't have much of a choice.
Victoria for supper.
That only has one, right? Oh, sorry.
Patrick Williams, the acting sergeant. No,
7 weeks in Calgary now.
last two are just.
I'm coming home the first time I go out there, I'm just going out there for a week. I come home for a couple weeks, and I go there for 2 weeks, and then I'm back home for a couple weeks, and then go out there for a week, come back. So it's like not 7 weeks straight. No, we're gonna try, but
Is this
I want to.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that one's for.
If you're coming home,
Just
Trevor? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's just a circular fund, if you were done.
Yeah, it's just there's not really. There is direct flights, but I haven't been able to book them.
We can adjourn.
All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.